Hello and welcome to the Playful Life podcast. I am your host, Crystal. And of course, this podcast is your place to find all things to live your best, most playful life. I truly believe that our health, our mind, body, and spirit health are all connected. And when we can get those things in harmony, we truly can live our best, most playful life. Today on the podcast, I have Justus Kelley joining me, and she is not only Mrs. Indiana America 2020, but she is a powerhouse of a woman. She's got a strong faith and a strong spiritual connection to her platform and what she's doing in the world. And I know that she's going to change some lives and possibly even change the world one day. And I'm so excited to see her on her journey. Today, Justus is sharing her experience as Mrs. Indiana 2020 and how she's navigating her year and staying dedicated to not only her physical health, but also her mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being too. So very excited to have her on the podcast, and I know you're going to enjoy her smile and her bright energy and her grace in this episode. Hi, Justus.
Hi, it's so good to see you.
No, you too. Thanks for joining me. I know that you've been busy, as Mrs. Indiana America 2020. So I really appreciate you taking your time to meet with me on Zoom and do this podcast. So thank you for that.
Goodness. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad that even virtually we're able to connect, and I feel like we're just sitting down chatting. So I'm super excited for this.
I even have my coffee, like as if we're on a coffee date right now. So
oh my goodness, I love it.
So Justus, I've already told people, that we met in the Mrs. Indiana America pageant, actually 2 years ago when we both competed. That was my first pageant ever. And then we competed again this past June, and you won, which I honestly could not have been more happy. I wish I could have placed that crown on your head. I was so happy for you. So of course, so what, led you up to that, competing for Mrs. Indiana? Were you in pageants, when you were young? Kind of what was your history in getting there?
Yeah, so I had done a few pageants before Mrs. Indiana. I didn't grow up competing. My first pageant wasn't until college, but for me, it was, doing my first pageant, realizing I love this. And from then on, just more programs that I would hear about and, be inspired by, I would try things out. So I did my first pageant my sophomore year, and from there got connected with the Miss America organization. I competed as a Miss for a few years, loved my experience. When my husband and I got married, I don't know that I realized that would, take me out of that system or disqualify me from competing further. But thank goodness there's a Mrs. division, and that was really exciting to learn and get connected with. So yeah, as you said, competing together in 2018 was amazing, and seeing you again this year, awesome. Just seeing a familiar face, but then one that you love. It's like, yes, you're back. This is awesome. And we had such a great time. So that, yeah, for me, it was, I want to say this was my 9th time competing within that span of just a few years, but definitely a pleasure each and every experience, so different and unique, but definitely amazing. It's all been amazing.
Oh, well, how cool is that? And I know it's so funny that you got married like within the time that you still could have essentially competed as a Miss within the age bracket. So I love your husband. I think he's such a cool dude. And it's unfortunate that when we were at the pageant, our husbands didn't really get to chat very much, but I feel like they would have really hit it off. And tell me about that. I know you got married young, and so did I. I was 24 when I got married. So, how did you guys meet, and what was that experience, kind of being married young and competing as a Mrs., kind of younger than some of the rest of us?
Yeah. So we got married when I was 25, or excuse me, 22. My husband was 25. I'm 25 now, so we just celebrated our 3rd year anniversary. And also, I agree that our husbands would really kick it off, so we should make that happen and like double date or something. I would love that. but we dated for 4 years before, tying the knot. And I don't know, I think for me, I don't know if it was just feeling like I had like grown up so much in my teen years. By the time I came to college, I obviously had so much more to learn about myself, but I felt like I was really sure of the direction I wanted to go in, and just knew so much more of what I wanted in life. And I think when I met Tyler, it was like, this is what I know that I want. You're amazing. And I mean, he truly is Mr. Indiana. It cracks me up that the day after the pageant, he's with me, of course, in the hotel, and he wakes up and he says, I can't believe I won Mr. Indiana last night. I'm like, oh, well, congratulations to you. Like, this is just your thing. But yeah, we've been doing this for 3 years. It'll be 7 years actually that we've been dating this January. But yeah, I don't know, when you say like, tell me what it was like to get married young, I don't know if because my sister, who's a year older than me, also got married around the same age, if it just was like normalized, like you find who you love. And I mean, my sister's been married for years now and is happily married to her like middle school sweetheart, not even a high school sweetheart.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know, I definitely found the one, and am happy to share this experience with him. I'm super grateful that he is extremely supportive of my competing. He loves it. He gets super into it. He literally thinks he's like my coach or stylist, but I love it.
That's amazing. And it was funny that I'm hearing you say that, because I felt the same way. I felt like when I was 24 or in my early 20s, I met my husband when I was about 18, 19. We knew each other for a while, and then we started dating, and it was just, yeah, it was exactly that. So like, I knew that this was like the absolute most right thing in my life. And how cool, like the whole Mrs. Competition and the whole series of pageants for Mrs., because I think married women still have so much to offer the world. And like, especially when you get married young, there's still so much you want to do, and having your spouse so supportive and willing to see you grow and grow with you is huge. And I that's why I love that you are our Mrs. Indiana this year, because I really do see that you have that strong bond with your husband, and that you're a good leader for married women, and especially married women who like want to be movers and shakers and do something amazing for the world. So I congratulate you for that. And,
I love
carrying that torch.
I appreciate that so much. I love that. And, I think for something that you said made me think of this. I've had conversations before with people about just different pageant systems, and, the qualifications, and being married and unmarried being, different factors in different systems. I am so thankful for the Mrs. division. To what you said, I mean, I couldn't echo that anymore. But when I think of a strong woman represents our country, like I think of moms, I think of, women that are, married and giving to their families, and really, that backbone of their community. So to me, it's like, there should be no question that, being married, there's a platform that allows you to continue the love that you have for pageantry. So I agree. I could not agree anymore with what you said.
Cool. Absolutely. See, this is why we've hit it off so well. So I'd like to talk more about that, because I think I heard a little bit about your platform while we were at the pageant. Of course, you talked about it and you rocked your onstage question, and, that led to a great victory for you. But tell us a little bit more about that, what you're kind of striving to do this year, and the legacy you want to leave behind, and some of the work you've been doing as Mrs. Indiana.
Yeah, so my platform is building inclusive societies. So it's actually a movement that I created when I knew that I wanted to compete. In the past, I had competed with a platform of cultivating sisterhood and support among women. And I think for me, that was a platform that was really comfortable. Like I felt good, talking about sisterhood and support. I was president of my sorority in college. A lot of what I had done, in the community programs that I was planning, it had to do with empowering women. And I will say, while that is still extremely important to me, something that I really wanted to challenge myself with was talking about what, for me, may be a little more uncomfortable to talk about, but what I recognize is extremely important. So that's, diversity and inclusion. It's, it is women empowerment. It is empowerment for everyone. And so it's kind of taking what my platform was before a step further and saying, I want to advocate for people of all backgrounds, all genders, all races, all ethnicities, all abilities. And I mean, it's been such a pleasure and an honor to have this platform, just the ways that I've been able to connect with people and communities. And I have to give a shout out to my Building Inclusive Societies committee, because I will say I think they really are the backbone of a lot of the work that I'm doing. An incredible group of people all across the state of Indiana, a really diverse committee that is able to come together and bring different perspectives, to say, here's my shared experience, here's my lived experience, here's where I think, Mrs. Indiana needs to spend more of her time focusing on. And I mean, I will say, I think without that platform, without that committee who, joins me in the work of my platform, I just don't think that I would be making the impact that I'm making. So for me, you talk about legacy and what's the legacy that you want to leave. I mean, it truly is just knowing that wherever I go in every environment, that I am making that space more equitable, more inclusive, thinking through how can I cultivate acceptance and creating spaces that are more accepting to everyone. So that is my goal. That's what I'm working to do. And I feel like there's so much more to be done, but it's definitely been an honor doing that along with the people that are joining me and having that as a passion.
That is amazing. And, I can't help but think how timely this is for what we're going through as a state, as a country, as a world. I mean, it seems like everybody's spinning out of control just a little bit this year. And, coronavirus has certainly been a big part of that. And, we just, I want to say, survived an election, and all this. And it seems like there's a lot of tension between people and a lot of division happening, where there should be community growing and, support and understanding for one another. And, I think people are a lot more alike than they want to either admit or know. And I think it's just amazing, like, that God is leading you down this path to bring people together, because we need it, girl. We need it.
Yeah. Yes. No, I don't. When I think of 2020, I just think in my head, woo child. Like, it's just like, oh man, like, it's been a lot. And I mean, yeah, I think for me, that gives me all the more like fire and fuel that I need to really make a difference in my platform. Just seeing how much of a need it is. So yes, I mean, I'm not at all, I would never say I'm thankful for events that have happened in 2020, but I'm thankful that I am in the position that I'm in, to be able to say, what are solutions? What can we do? How can I make a difference? And I think that's important. I mean, I at times have to challenge myself, like, don't just sit in what's wrong, like, think, okay, how can we make this? What can I in Bloomington, Indiana, what can you, and, like, wherever we are in our local communities, the reach that we have and our influence, like, we can make a difference. I mean, I've been so inspired, even just on social media, like, just seeing the amazing messages that are out there, despite how rough 2020 has been, just the ways that we can lift each other up, the ways that we can support each other, regardless of our backgrounds being different, regardless of us, having the same opinions and views about everything. Like, can we come together? We absolutely can come together. And that truly is what I aspire to see more of, and what, I'm really working to do. I call them healing conversations that I like to have, but really just facilitating conversations across difference, saying, it's okay that we're different. I think that's something that isn't always normalized. I think the focus is like, we're the same, we bleed the same. And that's so true. Like, we have so many things in common, but nothing's wrong with the things that we don't have in common. There's so much I can learn about you in the industry that you work in the passions that you have that are different than mine, right? So, I mean, yeah, I think when you say 2020, it's like so many things come to mind, but for me, it's definitely been what are opportunities that we have to continue pushing this message forward of acceptance and inclusion, and really providing us a feeling and sense of belonging for everyone.
Absolutely. And when I think of that conversation, I mean, obviously a lot of things kind of come to mind, and where you could, affect some change and bring some people together. So I guess, what are some examples of things that you've done? I love seeing your posts and seeing you out there. And of course, with 2020, it's difficult. You're wearing a mask. And I love your smile so much. I feel like that's just such a part of who you are. And you wear the mask and I'm like, I know she's smiling.
I can't tell you how many times I've posed for a picture and someone's like, smile. And I'm like, I am. Like, oh no, you can't tell. But
it's really rare that you're not smiling.
I've actually seen a mask that says I'm smiling at you, and I'm like, oh, I would like that, just so everyone knows, like, I'm smiling at you. But examples of things that I've done, I have grown so much just within the last few months being a part of a life group called Race in America. So it meets every Monday on a weekly basis. And it's just a group of people that come together. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds. It's a virtual meeting, so it's really cool to kind of see on your screen, like, just all these beautiful people that come together and want to discuss race in America, just issues, things that need to be done, solutions that we, as a group come together and, brainstorm. Being a part of communities like that, I will say, I think has really influenced a lot of the direction that I've decided to go in, even just when it comes to, wanting to take the approach of being solution oriented. Like, I'm in these classes where I feel like it's such a focus in what we can do, what can we do to make a difference. I have had such an honor in being a representative of the United States on a international committee. So I'm a part of Kiwanis clubs of South Central Indiana and Bloomington. And they actually launched with their international chapter, a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, an international committee. And so when I was asked to serve on this committee, representing the United States, I'm like, I don't know that I'm qualified to do that. But it's conversations like what I'm having in that Race in America Life group, in our committee meetings for this diversity, equity, and inclusion, international committee where people are joining in from all over the world, where I've just become so inspired, just learning more, learning different perspectives.
I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. I wanted to take just a moment to thank some of the sponsors here at Ron Harlow Media. Humane Indiana is the place to go to find your furry best friend, whether it's a cat or a dog or some other type of animal you want to love and welcome into your home. Humane Indiana is the place to go. They are a wonderful organization, and I think especially in this time, it's really important to maybe have a friend or a companion, somebody that's there, especially if we're feeling lonely or having a difficult time with 2020 and all the events that are going on in our lives. Having a pet, having a companion can really do wonders for your emotional and mental health, as well as maybe even get you more active, especially if you buy a dog. You might be going out for walks and doing active things with your pets that maybe you weren't doing before. So check them out, Humane Indiana. They're open daily at 11 a.m. You can go there and talk to their staff of professionals. You can call them at 219-922-3811. Again, 219-922-3811. And they'll set up a visit for you, and they're going according to all the COVID guidelines and keeping you safe when you go visit them. So don't be afraid to go and check out the animals there at Humane Indiana. Also want to mention my friends at Baxter Printing. So exciting. I'm going to have a creative space over there, a podcast space at Baxter Printing. We're renting a space over there from Dave, and he is awesome. Guys, he does so much good work. When you see like some of the political advertisements and stuff that you get in the mail, like Baxter Printing does a lot of those, and he does it all. He does signs, he does, small print jobs, big print jobs, whatever you're looking for. Call Dave and his staff over at Baxter Printing and get what you need done quickly and professionally. It's awesome. 923-1999. Again, that number 219-923-1999. Of course, I love to mention it's just like the Prince song, Party Like It's 1999. I can never forget that number. And he is over there on Broad Street in Griffith. And he is proud to be a union shop since 1980. So I love that about Dave. He's so supportive of our community and all the people in it. So check out our sponsors, guys. And now back to this episode.
It's been my involvement with those opportunities, and then really just being able to take that out into the community and apply what I'm discussing in those spaces. So I spoke very briefly at an amazing event called Women Inspiring Women in Martinsville, Indiana. And that was amazing. It's, just being a part of, events that are happening, whether it's virtual or, the ones that can't happen in person, and we're social distance and we're in there with our masks, but we're making it happen. And, I was able to share what my platform is and what my heart is, and, just even challenge everyone in the room, be in relationship with someone different than you. Just focusing and emphasizing on all of the beauty in our diversity, all of what you can learn from our differences. And yeah, there's so many more things that I want to do. I'm constantly, thinking through how can I, join with people that are already, doing so much in the community. One of my favorite things or appearances throughout my year, it was a virtual one. And I just don't think I realized how much of an impact even a virtual, opportunity or experience can have on you. But I spoke to a first grade class about inclusion, and, just that being a big word for them, like defining the word, giving examples, talking about like, how would that make you feel? And, just asking those questions, but they were so engaged, and it was just amazing. So I think for me, it's just having conversations, like, from first grade to, however age we are, like you're never too young to have a conversation or to start the conversation about inclusion and accepting people. And yeah, I think it's necessary and needed in every space, everywhere that you go. So I think that definitely excites me, knowing that there's so many more things to do and, things to be done. So if anyone listening has ideas or is like, hey, like come, speak at, my school or my church, I actually do this Sunday have a speaking engagement at a church. Like I'm just talking to the whole church, sharing out what my platform is. And being a woman of faith, I think it's really easy for me to even tie in my faith to my platform. I want us to love people and, just everyone. And for me, that source of like love that I'm pulling from is Jesus. It's like, I know that he made us different. And I'm like, God, I may not understand this point of view, but you made every person in the ways that they are and think. Like, help me to love, because I know a point of view that's different than mine doesn't change you from loving them. So I don't want to, and that's just me being like really real and vulnerable about like even the challenges and struggles that I have at times in loving everyone, but saying I can it may not be by my own strength, but that's what I want. So, come into my heart and help me to love. Yeah.
That is beautiful. And thank you for being so open and willing to share that and to share from, your faith perspective. And, I believe that God calls us to do things and puts us in the place where we are because we belong there, because, he wants us there. And I do believe that, you're stepping into this role as Mrs. Indiana, but he's got such a greater plan for you. And this is just one step that he's, kind of pushed you towards right this year, and that, he's got big plans for you. And it's so amazing that you're drawing from him and staying close in that relationship, because that's going to just take you just further and further. And he's happy with the work that you're doing for him. So that's really beautiful I want to honor you for just saying yes, saying yes and being open and willing to accept that call in your life.
Oh. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's not easy. I think anyone would agree that 2020, if there was ever a year that was harder than others, it's 2020. But yeah, if anyone needs some strength or, a source of love to pull from, I mean, that's been mine. And I mean, I'm not trying to say like I never run out. It's a daily, like, all right, help me again. Like I need more love.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think been what I would accredit, just even the passion behind my platform too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny because you are Mrs. Indiana America 2020, and so you'll be competing at a national level for the title of 2021, correct? Mrs. America 2021.
Yes.
And so that was supposed to happen, right? Just like a week ago or so, but they pushed it back now. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how are you preparing and what are you excited about for nationals? And, just give us a little glimpse into that life for you.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, one, I'm so happy to have a date. I think for the longest it was like, okay, I'm preparing, but I don't really know for sure when I'm preparing for. So I don't know, it just wasn't as consistent. My, being serious and taking it, as serious as I should have been. But I think for me, it was as soon as I knew this is happening, January 29th, it's like, okay, let's go. It's been, lots of not only preparing physically, working out and just really wanting to be in the best, shape that I possibly can. I'm really big on body positivity. So I think for me, when I think about pageantry, it's not saying I need to be a size X or Y or, whatever that number is that you have in your head. It's, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel your best. And so that's what I've been doing. I have some goals that my trainer is helping me to meet, and it's just been amazing to see that progress and, see your growth. My husband laughs at me some days. I'm in the mirror and I'm like, okay, like I see the gains. But yeah, preparing physically, and I think, preparing mentally is just as important, if not more than physically. The Indiana and Michigan team, Julie, as the director of Michigan and Indiana, we just got back from a weekend-long boot camp that was amazing and just did so much to prepare us, mock interviews and what to expect when you get there, and tips from a former Mrs. America, which was amazing. So for me, it's just been like a daily, what can I do today to be better than I was yesterday, even if it's little. Like I know that it can become overwhelming thinking about preparing for a national pageant, like all of the things. But just trying to take it one day at a time, one goal at a time, and have fun along the journey. Like, to not like be too stressed out about it. Like at the end of the day, this is an amazing opportunity, and you want to go with all of what you have prepared, and the best of who you are. But have fun through that process. So that's what I've been trying to do. Just enjoy the journey and the preparation. And I definitely have cheat days and days where I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to, think about this today, but it's part of my journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. A couple weeks ago on my podcast here, I was talking about, how do you become the person that attracts these opportunities into your life? And I was talking about personal development and how, really pageantry was about that for me more than anything else. Like the person I became because I was competing was just like a person I never knew I could even be, right? And like that's why I love encouraging people to look into it and have a different perspective on pageantry, because it really is a growth process. And I think that's why we as women who have done it love it and do it again and sort of get like addicted to it, if you will, right? We really get into it because we just see the people that we become when we do it. So, what I'm sure that, to get to Mrs. Indiana, that you did a lot of growth and personal development and all of that. So, you said you're working with a trainer, obviously, and doing some physical things, but like, how are you maybe taking care of Justus, your inner being and your emotional and mental well-being as you're preparing for nationals and navigating this title, especially in 2020?
Yes, I love that. I love that. That's such a good question. And I feel like that's something that we need to keep asking, just like do a check-in with yourself. I love that. I definitely don't do that enough. One thing that you said, just as far as your why behind competing and what you love about competing, that I can definitely relate to, or something kind of in addition to what you said, is for me, it's also the women that you get connected with. I have, just in my experience, I'm thinking about the last few years of competitions that I've done and how I've been so inspired by just the platforms that these women have, the amazing things that they're doing in their community across the state. And I think that for me has been like a big opportunity for me to challenge myself, to say, are you living up to your full potential? So I love what you shared just about really how pageants kind of push you to a place where it's like, I didn't even know I could make this much progress here, or, that I could grow in the ways that I'm growing. I can definitely relate to that. I love that so much about pageantry. I think for me, just through this journey and throughout this process, especially for preparing for Mrs. America, some of what I'm doing, for my mental health, for my really sanity in 2020, one, I'm in therapy, and I've been in therapy for about 5 years now. And I'm such a big advocate for therapy. What for me started as, there are some things that I really want to process and work through, to now being like, I don't really know if I have much to talk about, but I recognize the importance in preventative care. And so I don't want to wait until I get to a place where I'm like, help me. Like, I just want to process life as it comes. And, some weeks I'm like, I don't really have much, but let's just talk about the small thing that is big to me. Yeah. So, I love that. I think no matter what our mental health needs are, we all have them, whether, you're dealing with something that's really traumatic, or, just processing life, which honestly can be traumatic as well. Like someone once told me, if you are a living, breathing human, you could use a therapist. And I'm like, that's so true. Like, it's not even that you needed to have gone through a certain thing, like life, like life can, and that's, it's not a weakness. It's not that, something's wrong if, that's where you find yourself. For me, I look at it like going to the doctor for a checkup. I've tried to normalize counseling and therapy and just making it a part of my routine. And so that has definitely for me been something that I think has played a big role in feeling like I'm in a good space mentally, or even just having a place to go and process through things when I'm not feeling like I'm in a good space mentally. We talked about, our faith, and that for me is definitely something that I think, has absolutely been my strength when I have none. And I think lastly, community, like having a source of community is huge. I have found that certainly in pageantry. I've gained lifelong friends through competing together and just realizing that at the end of this, like, we're all sisters and we all have amazing, goals and things that we want to do, but ultimately we all want to change the world. Like, I think no matter who you talk to and what their platform is, like, we all want to change the world. It's just, different ways that we are doing that and working to do that. So, so inspired by you, by every woman that I've literally ever met in, this system and other systems. But I think just staying connected with women and, with people that can lift you up and be that community is huge. That's been huge for me.
Yes, I could not agree more with a couple of things that you said. Therapy, yes, I definitely advocate for that as well. There have been times in my life where I've done one-on-one, therapy sessions or, group therapy. And I like to say that I'm committed to building and keeping my serenity every day. So I definitely, practice some things and and have some programs in place that help me do that as well. And I do think that is like so important. So thank you again for being, vulnerable and open to share that, because people need to see that, you could be a strong, rocking it, beautiful woman with, lots of accomplishments, and still need to, have a little help along the way, and have someone to talk to. And, it's okay to admit that we don't have all the answers, and, we just can't solve all the problems on our own sometimes. So having the higher power, having God and having other people in your life and a community is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And too, like the community, right? Like I felt that when I did the pageant this last time, that was something that I really found was awesome. And I don't know if it's because like it was a little bit different, right? It's like the last experience, because we had some extra Zoom meetings, and because we kept kind of pushing the pageant back, we had, more time to get to know each other. And I love to tell like my clients and my audience, you are the people that you surround yourself with. So, in pageantry, you surround yourself with like all of these other amazing women who, like you said, are all trying to change the world and do amazing things. And, that you become a reflection of them, right? And that, their growth is your growth, and you all kind of like help each other and lift each other up on that process. So that's really awesome.
Yes, I love that.
Have you found that with the national group now, with your class of competitors? Have you, found some bonds or had any time to get to know any of those women?
Yeah, so it's really cool. I have a friend who we met through social media, Instagram, the power of our phones and how it can literally connect you with someone from across the world. But we just from talking on Instagram, we're both competing for our state's Mrs. pageant in 2018. So when you and I competed together, there was someone that I talked to in Utah. We were both competing, and both had a great experience. We said we would definitely do it again, and both found ourselves competing this year. And we're just encouraging each other. And then it turned into like, hey, do we want to have like mock interviews and help each other prepare? And it was amazing.
Awesome.
It was amazing for us to both have won our titles and now be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to meet you at Mrs. America. I feel like I have a friend, that I'm going into this with. So yeah, I mean, I am so looking forward to developing even more of those relationships and friendships. I've gotten to know Mrs. Michigan quite a bit, who is amazing. She will be my roommate, so she's excited for that. But I think there's so much room for that, for community and for relationships to grow. Our group chat in Facebook is pretty active. So I think for me, it's just like, woo, like it's so many amazing women. I'm ready to be there and meet everyone. And just go into it knowing like these are people that you could stay connected with for the rest of your life, friends that you could have forever. So I'm super excited for that.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. Yay. So good to know. And hopefully I am planning to be at the national pageant to cheer you on. So I know this, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to make it happen. And the crazy thing is like, I'll tell you what, like you tell God you want something to happen. He's like, here you go. Like in this last year, I have found friends. I've made friendships with people who live in Las Vegas. So
oh my goodness,
they're like, yeah, just fly out here. You could stay with us. We'll hang out, and like, we're going to come and cheer you on. And so it's like, it's just so funny how life works out. And I'm so grateful that I'm going to be able to be there. And I mean, at least I hope they open it up to the public in a way that I can. Otherwise I'll stand outside with a sign. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, that means so much. Well, I will definitely give you updates as soon as we have them. I'm actually still waiting to tell my family what to do. Like, and no one knows for sure what's happening. But I love that. Oh, I am going to be so happy to see you there.
Good. Yay. So Justus, I would love to, maybe tell people how they can help you on your journey, or, how they can get connected with you if they, like you said, want to have you speak at a virtual event or a live event, or how can the world support you as Mrs. Indiana to be Mrs. America and to like just freaking change the world with yourself and your smile and your platform and your grace?
Oh, I love it. I will say you can help me by keeping me busy. I mean, I I'm busy, but I want to, be even busier with all of the things that we've talked about. Some of those examples that I gave, I want to continue that. So if you have an opportunity, I will say on our website, mrsindianaamerica.com, or on any of our social media platforms, you can reach out to me. I also have in the links of those social media platforms a link to a survey. It's a really quick and easy survey, or form rather, that someone could fill out saying, here's the opportunity that I am requesting you to come to or speak at, or just come and support. I want to hear about any and every opportunity that I could be a part of. So that would be really the biggest thing. I mean, that's huge to me, just knowing what, counties all across the state are doing and how I can engage, how I can get involved. So I think the biggest piece is, letting me know, sending me that invitation, or making me aware of what that opportunity is. Your prayers, your encouragement, I mean, those, truly mean so much. So, even just, if you think about me one day, just, send me good vibes and wish me well. And I truly appreciate it.
Yes. So I'll be doing that for sure. And I would love, I'm going to, I think, find a way to get you up here to Lake County, Indiana.
Yes.
I think that'd be great. Yeah. We're basically Chicago here. So I feel like people here might be really accepting of your message, and you might be able to do some real good in our community. So I'm gonna make that happen.
I would love that. Yes.
And then we get to hang out again.
Yes. Well, yeah, we'll definitely have to connect about that, because I would love to come up.
Yeah.
I'm learning lots about Indiana.
Well, Justus, you're so wonderful. And again, thank you for just bringing your presence and your smile and your energy. And, again, being so open and willing to talk about yourself and your personal experience, and, being vulnerable with us today. So I honor you for that. And thanks again. Best wishes to you. And, this Mrs. America, whether the outcome, I do believe you're going to win, but whether you do or not, I really feel that whatever that next step for you, God has big plans for you, and he's going to help you move mountains. So thank you so much.
I receive it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your words and just your hospitality. Like, I feel like I'm in your house, in your living room. This has been amazing. And you are such an amazing host. So I truly appreciate you having me on your podcast. This is such an honor. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, girl. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Alrighty.
Thanks again for watching this episode. I hope you enjoy these podcasts as much as I enjoy filming them and talking with these awesome guests that I have on the show. Again, if you loved something you heard here, or you feel that somebody could use this message in their life, don't be afraid to share it. Go ahead, click share, like, subscribe, and as always, tune into Ron Harlow Media and the great programming that they have there. Ron Harlow is on every day from 4 to 6. Aaron Ellis every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And get tuned in and tapped into what's happening in our region. And I will see you next week.